Everyone loves to talk about Bridgewater, New Jersey, like it's the perfect suburban town. You'll hear people say it has great neighborhoods, strong schools, convenient shopping, and a location that puts you right in the middle of Somerset County. And honestly, a lot of that is true, but here's the part that almost never gets talked about. Bridgewater can surprise people, especially buyers relocating from out of state or even from other parts of New Jersey. Because once you actually live here, you start to realize there are a few realities that don't show up in the marketing brochures or Zillow photos. The cost of owning a home can feel heavier than expected. Traffic in certain areas can test your patience, and the housing market can still move fast enough to catch buyers off guard. None of these things mean Bridgewater is a bad place to live. In fact, for the right buyer, it can be an incredible place to settle down. But if you're thinking about moving here, there are 5 very real things you need to be able to handle first. And if you understand these ahead of time, you'll make a much better decision about whether Bridgewater is truly the right fit for you. And if we haven't met yet, I'm a local real estate agent here in central New Jersey. And on this channel, I break down what it's actually like to live in different towns across Somerset County and the surrounding areas. Because if you're relocating here, the last thing you want is to choose a town based on only listings and photos and then discover the reality after you move. So today we're talking about Bridgewater, New Jersey, and specifically the things that can catch buyers off guard when they move here. And to be clear, this is not a Bridgewater is bad video. Far from it. But every town has trade-offs, and understanding those trade-offs is the key to choosing the right place to live. So let's walk through 5 things you really need to be comfortable with before moving to Bridgewater. The first thing you need to be ready for in Bridgewater is the true cost of owning a home. And that doesn't just mean the purchase price. It's the monthly carrying cost that tends to surprise people. According to the Bridgewater Township 2025 user-friendly budget, the average residential tax impact for 2024 tax year is about $11,038 per home. Property taxes are a major factor in northern New Jersey housing costs, and Bridgewater is no exception. When buyers start calculating what their monthly housing costs will look like, the property tax portion of that payment often becomes one of the largest components. U.S. Census data shows the median monthly owner cost with a mortgage in Bridgewater is about $3,258, based on the American Community Survey 2020 to 2024 estimates. That figure includes mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, and utilities. For buyers moving from lower cost regions, this can feel like a big adjustment. So when people relocate to Bridgewater, one of the biggest mindset shifts is understanding what the long-term cost of ownership is part of the decision, not just the listing price. Thinking about relocating to New Jersey? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research. And I've linked it down below, from top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things that you need to know before making the move. The best part is, this guide's 100% free. That's right. You heard me right. 100% free. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment. The second thing buyers need to handle is simply the price of getting into Bridgewater housing market. Bridgewater sits at one of the more desirable suburban corridors in New Jersey, which naturally pushes prices higher. According to Redfin housing market data, the median home sale price in Bridgewater was about $585,000 in January 2026. Census data also shows the median owner-occupied home value in the township is about $605,500, based on the American Community Survey 2020 to 2024 estimates. Those numbers illustrate the reality that Bridgewater is not a low-cost housing market. For many buyers, moving here means stepping into a higher price tier compared to surrounding regions or smaller towns. But those prices also reflect the demand for the area. Bridgewater offers strong infrastructure, easy highway access, and proximity to major employment centers throughout New Jersey. Another thing buyers should expect is that Bridgewater housing market can still be competitive. According to Redfin, Bridgewater is currently classified as a very competitive market, and homes receive around 5 offers on average. When you zoom out to the broader Somerset County housing market, the data shows why. A January 2026 Somerset County market update reported that single-family home inventory dropped to 210 homes, representing a 10.3% decrease compared with the previous year, while the county had about 1.2 months of housing supply available. In real estate terms, anything below about 4 months of supply is typically considered a seller's market. So even though conditions today are calmer than the extreme market of a few years ago, buyers still need to be prepared to act when a desirable home becomes available. Limited supply tends to keep demand high. Another reality of living in Bridgewater is the commuting lifestyle. Bridgewater is very much a car-oriented suburban town, and most residents rely on driving to get to work, run errands, or travel to nearby areas. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the average travel time to work for Bridgewater residents is about 31.4 minutes, based on the American Community Survey 2020 to 2024 estimates. Census Reporter, which compiles the same ACS data, confirms the 31.4 minute average commute time. For suburban New Jersey, that number is fairly typical, but it does highlight that daily driving becomes part of the routine for most residents. People commute to nearby employment hubs like Somerville, Princeton, Newark, and other parts of Central and North Jersey. So if you're someone who prefers a highly walkable environment where everything is minutes away, Bridgewater's suburban layout may feel different from what you're used to. The fifth thing you need to handle in Bridgewater is traffic along some of the major corridors. One of the busiest areas in town is the Route 22 corridor, which connects major retail areas and commuter routes. The New Jersey Department of Transportation has identified this corridor as an area requiring improvement. According to NJDOT planning documents, the Route 22 corridor study aims to address high accident rates and congestion along the roadway. NJDOT also held a public information process in November 2025 to discuss potential improvements to the corridor for residents. For residents, this simply reflects the reality that Bridgewater sits at the intersection of several major transportation routes. That connectivity is convenient, but it also means certain roads can become busy during peak travel times. Another factor buyers should be aware of is that flooding events can occasionally affect infrastructure in the area. For example, in July 2025, the New Jersey Department of Transportation reported that Route 28 in Bridgewater had to be closed in both directions because of damage from flooding. Events like that are not everyday occurrences, but they highlight something important for buyers to consider when evaluating a property. Certain parts of New Jersey, especially areas near rivers or low-lying land, can experience flooding during severe storms. FEMA notes that standard homeowners insurance policies typically do not cover flood damage, which is why flood maps are used to determine insurance requirements because of that. Buyers should always check flood zones when purchasing property in the region.
Hey guys, it's Jan. As much as I love making these videos, there's one thing I love more, and that's helping families and people from all over the US make the move here to New Jersey. I've helped countless families make the move. So whether you're coming out next week or next month or even next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here on the screen and linked in the description in case you missed the on-screen pop-up. I look forward to helping you and your family make the move to New Jersey.
The final factor to understand about Bridgewater is that property assessments can change over time. Bridgewater Township operates an annual reassessment program to keep property values in line with current market conditions. The township confirmed that reassessment letters were sent to residents on February 18, 2025 as part of the process. For homeowners, that means the assessed value of a property can change as the housing market shifts. Reassessments are common in many New Jersey municipalities, but they do mean property taxes can adjust over time as property values change. So does all this mean Bridgewater is a bad place to live? Not at all. For many people, Bridgewater is one of the most balanced suburban towns in Somerset County. You have convenient access to highways, major shopping areas, nearby towns, and employment centers across central New Jersey. But like any town, it comes with some trade-offs. Higher ownership costs, a competitive housing market, commuting realities, and busy highway corridors are all part of living here. If those factors align with your expectations, Bridgewater can be a fantastic place to settle down. If you're researching a place to live in Somerset County, make sure to check out our next video where I break down some of the best towns to live in the region of New Jersey. And if you're thinking about moving to Bridgewater or anywhere in central New Jersey, feel free to reach out using the contact information in the description below. My team and I help people relocate here all the time, and we're always happy to answer questions about neighborhoods, pricing, and what living here is really like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.